Danielle Fogarty of North Bennington was nearing the finish line of the Boston Marathon when she heard two explosions Monday and witnessed scenes of horror. In an interview at her law office Wednesday, she spoke about her compassion, not only for the victims, but the bomber, and she discussed the spiritual aspects of running.
So when I saw this lady's leg and flesh, it was, yes, you see it, but and then there's like a man was walking, and I saw that his pants were like shred off him and black around, and I was seeing his legs, and again it was, maybe I was numb or something, but as I went through it, the experience to me really just felt like I was just witnessing it, but that I wasn't experiencing. I didn't experience what they experienced. Right. I know inside there's this well of upset that's still contained, and there are times when that sort of bubbles up and surfaces. And we were so spared, and it's freaky to be close and spared. So there's something in there that'll just come out in a big fat cry. So
does it matter to you who did this or why they did this?
Does it matter to me? I think the only thing is it's senseless violence against absolute innocent spectators, and that anybody would intend to hurt and think that was an effective way of achieving anything. My heart goes out to a person who thinks that that's their only alternative, is violence. It is senseless, and for a person to be in that place where that act makes sense is tragic.
Yeah. Right. Now, you're a runner, and people run for many different reasons. Can you tell me a little bit about why you run?
It's I don't know. It's a I've said this before and I'm not able to articulate it, but it's bear with me. When I'm running, I'm in spirit, if you will, and so people use the word inspired or inspiration, but for those whose lives include any kind of spiritual practice, they'll know what it means to be in spirit. And for me, that's what running's always been. And so as a young person, I felt like through junior high and high school that this spirit of running saved me, or being able to be in the spirit through running saved me through junior high and high school. It was my saving grace. And then I was injured, I fell, and then I didn't run. And any time I tried to go back to it, it was painful. And then when the Shires came, I I guess it was around August of 2010, I saw a little clip in the paper that the Shires was coming through. And the 5 mile mark is right where we live in North Bennington. And I thought, well, gosh, if I don't do this, I'll just die in a spiral of depression. And so I made a commitment to myself that I would do this, that I would run this marathon, which would ended up being in May of 2011. And thankfully I connected with a running group and a running coach. You've probably heard of Lynn Grieger's Training for More, so I'm a Lynn Grieger gal. And it's just transforming to be able to connect that way with others. And you'll hear stories again and again that it's just, you hear all those words: empowering, inspiring, life-changing, and it's just one of those ways that we can learn to make a commitment to ourselves and to others, and through disciplined practice, no matter what, and get through. And so to have that experience is a blessing. And so, and I have to tell you that I've experienced that just in the training runs. And actually, I don't race much or anything. I don't fancy it.
I think it's rare to hear someone express compassion for someone who perpetrated violence like this. And you then went from that to speaking about being in the spirit. And I've wondered where that compassion comes from. Is that something to do with a spiritual practice?
Well, I think it's just compassion toward anybody whose experience is such that resorting to this kind of violence would make sense. I don't know whether that comes from a spiritual place, but I think if ever we imagined being a person, who was experiencing this life in a way that made resorting to violence an option, none of us would want to be in that life. Even when we feel angry, anger feels like poison and it's toxic, and so to imagine a human experiencing this life and whatever they're experiencing, and to be so disconnected from other humans that they could intend pain, that person is so disconnected. And I just imagine that's not how we're supposed to experience this life. That's all. So